Hello everyone, I'm Professor Adriano Andrade. It's a pleasure to be here and share my research with all of you. I'm going to talk about violence, specifically about violence made visible by the COVID-19 pandemic and the risks on the used territory. This problematic situation is the start point to the discussion of this presentation, which brings 13 different forms of violence in modern times. I really would like that you think about my explanation regarding the period of the COVID-19 pandemic. The first one is the violence as a direct expression of the use of force against another person. This is the most visible form of violence. It includes marginal actions like daily crimes, the power of the state, and other territorial expression, and, in other scale, domestic violence. The second perspective pointed out here concerns the violence that falls upon the imprisoned individual. It is one of the various facets of social control. Exclusion also takes many forms of violence. Here, I highlight unemployment and its ally, hopelessness. In addition, to the physical violence of hunger and homelessness directly linked to scarcity. Another form of violence is the lack of access to education. Illiteracy includes the digital illiteracy and the inability to interpret the formal codes of writing and reading alienate the person, and of course it means that symbolically violate them. Another aspect of the violence of our time is the widespread dissemination of information via virtual platforms with little or no control over its veracity. Violence in the countryside has several phases, like the number of deaths resulting from land conflicts or the difficulty to access medical services in small towns. The environmental impacts resulting from anthropic actions hit a preferential group, the poorest. This is because the power of money buys environment comfort and legal regulation protection. The growing exploitation of workers means a daily violence for a lot of people in the world. Consumption and consequently non-consumption also constitute a symbolic form of violence. During pandemic times, some people didn't have money to buy essential items like foods and masks. Directly linked to consumption is the violence of standards of beauty and fashion. Especially among young people, it is not uncommon to see cases of depression and suicide among those who are not accepted in the group of pre-established universal beauty. The urban space is a productive ground of the territorial expression of various forms of violence. The privative appropriation of public spaces shows that the right to the capitalist city is restricted to those who can pay for it. This is a really difficult thing, but I believe that the imposition of religious habits, customs, values, and guides can lead to violence when they reflect discrimination of other practices. Finally, we can speak of the violence against representative minorities like women, LGBT+, black people, refugees, and others. These groups suffer from daily physical violence, but also from immeasurable symbolic violence. Uh, Thank you for your audience, and I hope that you can read my complete article in my networks. Goodbye.